First contact. The cosmic silence shattered as the UES Ascendant tore through the fabric of reality, its quantum displacement drive leaving ripples in space-time as it emerged from the void between stars. The sleek vessel gleamed in the light of an unfamiliar sun, its obsidian hull absorbing starlight, while iridescent energy fields pulsed beneath the surface like the heartbeat of a living organism. Captain Maya Chen stood at the command center, her dark eyes reflecting holographic displays that floated in the air around her. 15 years of service in the United Earth Fleet had earned her this mission, humanity's first deep exploration beyond the boundaries of charted space. The Ascendant wasn't merely Earth's most advanced vessel. It represented the culmination of a technological revolution that had transformed human civilization in less than a century. Quantum displacement complete, Captain, announced Lieutenant Aisha Okafor, her fingers dancing across an interface that responded to both touch and thought. All systems nominal. The drive is cooling as expected. Maya nodded, allowing herself a moment of satisfaction. Position confirmed. We've arrived at the coordinates exactly as calculated, confirmed Commander Jackson Wei, her executive officer. Stellar cartography is mapping the local system now. Preliminary data shows 11 planetary bodies, including what appears to be a habitable world in the Goldilocks zone. Perfect, Maya said, her voice carrying the calm confidence that had made her legendary among Earth's forces. Begin standard first contact protocols. I want passive scans only. We're guests here, not invaders. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency as the Ascendant glided deeper into the system. Earth had spent decades preparing for this moment, developing not just the technology to reach distant stars, but the diplomatic, scientific, and, if necessary, defensive capabilities to ensure humanity's successful emergence onto the galactic stage. Captain, called Dr. Elena Novak from the science station, her voice tight with sudden tension. I'm detecting artificial structures in orbit around the fourth planet, and multiple vessels approaching our position. Maya straightened, her expression unchanged despite the unexpected development. First contact had always been a possibility on this mission, though they hadn't expected it quite so soon. Classification: unknown, but their formation suggests military, Elena replied, her augmented vision processing data faster than ordinary human perception. 23 vessels in a standard escort pattern around what appears to be a command ship. Their technology reads as peculiar, organic synthetic hybrid construction. Definitely FTL capable, though nothing like our quantum systems. Open all communication frequencies, Maya ordered. Standard greeting package, all languages and mathematical sequences. The tension on the bridge thickened as the alien vessels approached, their formation tightening in what could only be interpreted as a defensive posture. They're scanning us, reported Lieutenant Okafor, her fingers flying across her console. Multiple frequencies, some we've never encountered before. They're being thorough. Maya felt a flutter of concern but maintained her composed exterior. The Ascendant's technology wasn't just advanced. Much of it was classified to the highest levels. The quantum displacement drive alone represented a leap in physics that had rewritten humanity's understanding of the universe. They're responding, announced Communications Officer David Chen, no relation to the captain. Universal Translator is processing. We have a connection. The main view screen shimmered and resolved into the image of an alien being. Its face was vaguely reptilian, with iridescent scales in patterns of deep blue and silver. 4 amber eyes blinked independently of each other, and what might have been a mouth moved to form words. Unknown vessel, you have entered sovereign territory of the Telvari Dominion. The translator rendered in crisp English. Identify yourself and state your purpose immediately. Maya stepped forward, her posture relaxed but dignified. This is Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Ship Ascendant. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration from the planet Earth. We were unaware this system was claimed territory and meant no intrusion. We come with respect and in the spirit of peaceful exchange. The alien commander's upper eyes narrowed while the lower pair widened, an expression impossible to interpret without cultural context. Earth. We have no record of such a world or species in this sector. The commander's tone became dismissive. Your vessel appears primitive compared to Dominion standards. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded for inspection and registration. Maya's expression didn't change, but her officers exchanged glances. The Ascendant was anything but primitive. Its technology represented breakthroughs that had catapulted humanity from conventional space travel to quantum manipulation in less than a generation. I'm afraid I cannot comply with that request, Commander, Maya replied evenly. While we respect your authority in this region, our vessel contains sensitive systems that we cannot allow to be examined. I suggest instead a regulated exchange of diplomatic representatives in neutral space. The alien scales flared in what was clearly anger or indignation. You misunderstand, Captain Chen. This was not a request. The Telvari Dominion has ruled this sector for 12,000 cycles. Unregistered species must submit to evaluation before being permitted limited autonomy. Lieutenant Kosta Petrov, at tactical, tensed visibly. Captain, they're activating weapon systems. Energy signatures rising across their fleet. Maya remained unruffled. Maintain passive stance, Lieutenant. No defensive measures yet. She addressed the alien commander again. Perhaps a demonstration of good faith would help establish mutual trust. You may conduct a more detailed scan of our vessel, non-invasive only, to assure yourselves of our peaceful intentions. The commander made a gesture that might have been agreement. Proceed with comprehensive scanning. He ordered someone off-screen. Maya caught Dr. Novak's concerned glance, but gave an almost imperceptible nod. The Ascendant's outer systems were designed to be visible, even impressive, to outside observers. The true nature of its core technologies, however, remained hidden behind layers of quantum encryption and field distortion. Captain, Lieutenant Okafor whispered urgently. Their scans just penetrated our outer defensive fields. There. I know, Maya interrupted softly. Let them look. On the view screen, the alien commander's expression underwent a dramatic change. All four eyes widened, and its scales rippled in patterns that suggested alarm. What is this? The commander demanded, voice raised. Your power signature exceeds anything in our database. The energy readings from your drive system alone could power a Telvari battle fleet. Maya allowed a small smile. As I said, Commander, we come in peace, but peace is not the same as vulnerability. The Telvari commander's demeanor shifted instantly from dismissive to wary. What manner of technology generates such power? Our readings suggest impossible physics, manipulation of quantum states at a macroscopic level. That's partially correct, Maya acknowledged. Our quantum displacement drive does manipulate fundamental forces in ways that might seem unconventional. The commander conferred with someone off-screen, the conversation too quiet for the translator to capture. When he turned back, his manner was entirely different, tense, almost fearful. Your vessel will remain where it is. Do not attempt to activate your drive system or move closer to any Telvari world. The High Command has been notified of your presence. The communication ended abruptly, leaving the bridge in momentary silence. Well, said Commander Wei with a dry tone, that wasn't quite the first contact scenario we rehearsed. Maya turned to face her crew, her expression serious but not concerned. They're afraid, she stated simply. Their scan detected enough to know that we're not the primitive newcomers they assumed, but not enough to understand exactly what we're capable of. They've taken defensive positions around us, reported Lieutenant Petrov. Weapons hot, but not targeted directly. They're being careful. Maya nodded thoughtfully. Dr. Novak, how much do you think their scans actually revealed? The science officer looked up from her analysis. They detected our power generation capabilities and probably got readings from our quantum field manipulation systems. But the Heisenberg barriers would have protected our core technologies. They know we're powerful, but they don't understand how or why. That puts us in an interesting diplomatic position, Maya mused. They're used to being the dominant power, encountering species they can intimidate or control. Now they've found something they don't understand and can't immediately classify as inferior. Their reinforcements will arrive in approximately 8 hours, Commander, we noted. Based on the communications traffic we're intercepting, they're mobilizing a significant portion of their fleet. Maya's lips curved in a subtle smile. Then we have 8 hours to decide whether to continue this encounter as potential friends, or to show them why humans spent so much of their history preparing for the possibility that the stars might not be friendly. She gazed out at the alien vessels surrounding them, their organic metallic hulls gleaming with weapons meant to intimidate. The Ascendant floated serenely in their midst, its true power hidden beneath layers of technology that had transformed humanity from a single-planet species to one ready to take its place among the stars, whatever that place might be. "Open a channel," she ordered finally. "Let's see if we can't convince them that friendship is in everyone's best interest. Sometimes, the most powerful position to negotiate from is one where you don't need to prove your strength at all." As the communication system reactivated, Maya Chen prepared to introduce humanity to the galaxy, not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as equals who had earned their place among the stars through innovation and determination. The Telvari Dominion was about to learn what Earth had known for centuries. Underestimating humans was always a dangerous mistake. Technological superiority. 6 hours into the standoff, the atmosphere aboard the UES Ascendant remained calm despite the growing Telvari fleet assembling at the edge of the system. Maya Chen had retreated to the strategic planning room with her senior staff, where a 3-dimensional hologram displayed the steadily increasing number of alien vessels. 47 ships now, Commander Wei reported, manipulating the display to highlight the newest arrivals. Their flagship appears to be this Dreadnought-class vessel approaching from the 4th planet. Energy readings suggest it outmasses the rest of their fleet combined. Maya studied the tactical projection with practiced eyes. Their formation suggests they're preparing for either containment or assault. Not exactly the diplomatic reception we hoped for. Dr. Nathan Reed, the Ascendant's chief science officer and the principal architect of the quantum displacement technology, stroked his salt and pepper beard thoughtfully. In his 50s, Reed was considered the most brilliant physicist humanity had produced since Einstein, though his unassuming manner belied his genius. "They're still probing our defenses," he noted, gesturing to a secondary display showing incoming scan patterns. "Each attempt is more sophisticated than the last. They're learning, adapting their approach to try to penetrate our quantum fields." "Can they succeed?" Maya asked directly. Reed smiled, the confidence of decades of theoretical and practical work evident in his expression. "Not with their current level of technology. It's like trying to hack a quantum computer with an abacus. The principles they're operating on are fundamentally different from our approach to physics." Lieutenant Commander Sofia Torres, head of defensive systems, nodded in agreement. "The quantum shell is holding at 99.8% efficiency. We could withstand their entire fleet's firepower for days without taxing our systems." Maya absorbed this information with quiet satisfaction. Earth's decision to invest so heavily in the quantum revolution had been controversial at first. Diverting resources from conventional military buildup had seemed risky to many security experts. But the breakthrough had changed everything, rendering traditional space warfare tactics obsolete almost overnight. "The Telvari commander is hailing us again," announced Communications Officer Chen from the bridge. "Priority channel." "Put it through," Maya ordered, straightening her uniform as the holographic display transformed to show the same reptilian commander, now flanked by 2 other Telvari in ornate attire that suggested higher rank. "Captain Chen," the translator rendered the alien speech, "I am High Commander Zurl of the Telvari Dominion Grand Fleet. Your continued presence in our sovereign space constitutes an act of aggression." Maya kept her expression neutral. "High Commander, we have maintained our position as requested and made no threatening moves. We remain open to peaceful dialogue." The central figure, presumably Zurl, leaned forward. "Our analysis of your vessel has been completed. You possess technology that violates the natural order. The energy manipulation systems aboard your ship suggest capabilities that could destabilize the balance of power across 3 sectors. I assure you, our technology is perfectly stable, Maya replied evenly, and we have no interest in disrupting any existing political arrangements. Earth seeks peaceful exchange and mutual recognition. Your assurances mean nothing, Zerl snapped. The Dominion has encountered many species who claimed peaceful intentions while harboring expansionist ambitions. Your refusal to submit to proper boarding and inspection only confirms our suspicions. Dr. Reed stepped forward slightly, catching Maya's eye. She nodded, allowing him to address the aliens directly. Hi, Commander Zerl. I am Dr. Nathan Reed, Chief Science Officer. Perhaps I can address your technical concerns about our systems. The quantum displacement drive operates by silence, interrupted one of the other Telvari officials. You will not distract us with technical obfuscation. The Dominion Science Directorate has classified your technology as a Class 1 threat to galactic stability. Reed's eyebrows rose slightly, but he maintained his professional demeanor. That's an unfortunate misclassification based on incomplete data. Our quantum systems represent no threat unless deliberately weaponized, which is contrary to our entire exploration philosophy. The third Telvari, who had remained silent until now, leaned forward. Its scales were paler, marked with the patina that suggested advanced age. Your claims would be more credible if you allowed a proper inspection, it said, its translated voice considerably more measured than the others. The Dominion has protocols for integrating new species and technologies. Maya recognized the slightly different approach. I understand your caution, Elder, she responded, correctly guessing the significance of the alien's appearance. But surely you can appreciate that we must be equally cautious. We have no history with the Telvari, no established trust. Our technology represents our civilization's greatest achievement and primary defense. Then perhaps a compromise, the Elder suggested. A limited inspection by a small team, with appropriate restrictions on what may be examined. Before Maya could respond, Zerl cut in sharply. This discussion is pointless. The Dominion Council has made its decision. He turned to look directly at Maya. Captain Chen, you have 1 hour to power down your systems and prepare for boarding, or we will be forced to take more direct action. The communication ended abruptly, leaving the strategic room in momentary silence. Well, Commander Wee said dryly, that went about as expected. Maya turned to her team, her expression thoughtful rather than concerned. Tactical assessment. Lieutenant Petrov's analysis was prompt and precise. Their fleet continues to maneuver into an encirclement pattern. Energy readings indicate weapon systems charging across all vessels. They're preparing for a coordinated attack if we don't comply. Dr. Reed, Maya turned to the scientist. If it comes to direct confrontation, what are our options that don't involve destructive force? Reed's eyes lit up with the enthusiasm of a scientist asked about his life's work. We have several possibilities. The quantum shell can be modulated to create a localized field disruption that would temporarily disable their systems without causing physical damage. Or we could demonstrate the drive's capability by executing a micro-jump, just enough to show we can move instantaneously beyond their containment. Commander Torres added, the quantum pulse would be cleanest. We can calibrate it to affect only their weapons and propulsion systems, leaving life support untouched. Maya nodded, making her decision. Prepare the pulse option, but hold for my command. I want one more attempt at diplomacy before we resort to technological demonstrations. As they returned to the bridge, the tactical display showed the Telvari flagship moving into position at the center of their formation. Smaller vessels continued to arrive, bringing their total strength to over 60 ships. They're quite serious about this show of force, observed Commander Wei. It's all they know, Maya replied quietly. Their civilization appears to be built on hierarchical dominance. They can't conceive of an advanced species that doesn't operate by the same principles. Captain, called Lieutenant Okafor from her station. I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the Telveri vessels. They appear to be deploying some kind of specialized probe. The main view screen zoomed in on several small craft, detaching from the larger Telveri ships, sleek, organic-looking vessels barely large enough for a crew. Stealth technology, confirmed Dr. Novak from the science station. They're trying to approach using some form of sensor masking field. Maya's expression hardened slightly. So much for waiting the full hour. It seems they're attempting a covert boarding operation while maintaining the pretense of negotiations. The probes will reach our position in approximately 3 minutes, reported Lieutenant Petrov. Our quantum fields are detecting them despite their cloaking technology. Maya straightened her shoulders, her decision made. It appears the Telveri need a more direct demonstration of why forcing their way onto this vessel would be unwise. Dr. Reed, is the quantum pulse ready? Configured and standing by, the scientist confirmed from his station. Calibrated to affect only their technological systems, not organic life. Lieutenant Petrov, open a channel to the entire Telveri fleet, Maya ordered. When the communication link established, she addressed them with calm authority. High Commander Zerl, we have detected your stealth vessels attempting to approach the Ascendant. This constitutes an aggressive act after our explicit refusal of boarding. We have maintained a peaceful stance despite your provocations, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Zerl's image appeared, his scales flushed with colors that suggested anger or perhaps embarrassment at being caught. Your vessel violates Dominion sovereignty by its very presence. You will submit to. We will not, Maya interrupted firmly. And to demonstrate why attempting to force compliance would be unwise, we will now provide a small demonstration of our defensive capabilities. She nodded to Dr. Reed, who activated the quantum pulse with a series of precise commands. The bridge illuminated briefly as a wave of shimmering energy expanded outward from the Ascendant, passing through space like ripples on a pond. As the pulse reached the approaching stealth vessels, their cloaking fields flickered and died. Moments later, the wave washed over the main Telveri fleet. Ship after ship experienced the same effect. Weapons systems powering down, propulsion drives failing, communications arrays going silent. Only life support and basic systems remained operational. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The once threatening armada hung motionless in space, temporarily neutered without a single destructive shot being fired. Quantum pulse successful, reported Commander Torres. All targeted systems have been neutralized. Effect will last approximately 30 minutes before their technology resets. Maya observed the disabled fleet with no satisfaction, only the grim knowledge that this demonstration had become necessary. Maintain full defensive posture. They may have secondary systems our scans haven't detected. On the view screen, Zerl's image flickered as the Telveri flagship struggled to maintain basic functionality. The alien commander's expression showed a mixture of rage and, more significantly, fear. What have you done? He demanded, his translator glitching slightly. This attack will not go unanswered. This was not an attack, High Commander, Maya responded calmly. Had we wished to attack, your vessels would be destroyed rather than merely disabled. We've temporarily suspended your offensive capabilities to prevent you from making a disastrous mistake. Your life support systems remain fully functional, and your technology will restore itself shortly. She leaned forward slightly, her voice firm but not threatening. Consider this a demonstration of why forced boarding would be unwise, and why peaceful dialogue remains the better option. The elder Telveri moved into view beside the fuming Zerl. Remarkable, the aged alien said, with what sounded almost like admiration. Complete technological suppression without physical damage. Your quantum field technology clearly operates on principles beyond our current understanding. As we try to explain, Dr. Reed interjected, stepping forward. Our technology represents a different approach to physics, not a threat unless made into one. The elder's scales shifted in a pattern that might have indicated thoughtfulness. Perhaps we have been hasty in our assessment of your intentions. This demonstration showed both power and restraint, an unusual combination in our experience." Zerald sputtered in obvious disagreement, but the elder raised a clawed hand for silence. "I am Elder Scientist Tavrix of the Dominion Council. When our systems restore, I request a direct conference with your scientific leaders. Perhaps understanding must precede diplomatic relations in this unique circumstance." Maya exchanged glances with Dr. Reed, who nodded slightly. "We would welcome such an exchange." "Elder Tavrix," she agreed. "Knowledge shared freely benefits all." As the communication ended, the bridge crew of the Ascendant exchanged looks of cautious optimism. The standoff had shifted from the brink of conflict to the possibility of dialogue, not through traditional diplomatic channels, but through the universal language of science and technology. "A promising development," commented Commander Wei, "though I suspect High Commander Zeril is not pleased to have his authority undermined." "Military commanders rarely appreciate being shown the limitations of force," Maya agreed, "but the presence of their scientist on the diplomatic channel suggests there may be factions within the Dominion with different approaches to outside contact." Dr. Reed nodded thoughtfully. "The Elder's reaction to our quantum pulse was telling, scientific curiosity overriding political posturing. That's something we can work with." As they watched the disabled Telvari fleet drift silently against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars, Maya felt the weight of the moment. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization had teetered on the edge of hostility, but had now found a possible path toward understanding. The Ascendant's technology had demonstrated not just humanity's advancement, but their approach to power itself, capable of overwhelming force, yet configured for minimal harm. "Maintain our position," she ordered quietly, "and prepare a scientific exchange package for Elder Tavrix. Let's show them that humans came to the stars not to conquer, but to connect." The quantum fields rippled silently around the Ascendant, holding secrets that had transformed humanity's place in the universe, secrets they were now prepared to selectively share with the first alien civilization they had encountered among the countless stars. Negotiation and resolution. The conference room aboard the UES Ascendant had been specially configured for the historic meeting. A neutral zone occupied the center, where atmospheric conditions could be adjusted to accommodate both human and Telvari physiology. Holographic displays lined the walls, ready to facilitate the exchange of scientific and cultural information. Captain Maya Chen observed the final preparations with measured satisfaction. It had been 24 hours since the quantum pulse demonstration, and the situation had evolved dramatically. After the Telvari systems had reset, a tense period of communication had followed, culminating in this unprecedented agreement, a direct meeting between human and Telvari representatives aboard the Ascendant. "Security protocols are in place," reported Lieutenant Commander Torres. "The quantum barrier will maintain separation between our section and the visitor area while still allowing clear communication." "And their delegation?" Maya asked. Commander Wei consulted his neural interface. "The Telvari shuttle has departed their flagship. Elder Scientist Tavrix leads the delegation, accompanied by 2 junior scientists, and interestingly, a representative from their central government, not military." "That's promising," Maya noted. "An indication that the diplomatic faction may be gaining influence." Dr. Reed adjusted the formal attire he had grudgingly agreed to wear for the occasion. The brilliant scientist looked distinctly uncomfortable in anything other than his customary lab clothes. The quantum field demonstration seems to have shifted their approach from military confrontation to scientific curiosity. Never underestimate the power of intellectual fascination to overcome political hostility. Maya smiled slightly at his assessment. The Ascendant's defensive display had indeed changed the dynamic, not through intimidation, but by demonstrating technological principles that transcended the Telvari's understanding of physics. It had transformed humans from potential threats to potential teachers, a role humanity had not anticipated playing in its first interstellar contact. "They're approaching the docking bay," announced Lieutenant Okafor through the communication system. Quantum scanners confirm no weapons or unauthorized technology. Maya nodded to her team. Remember, this is about building understanding, not just showcasing our advancement. We need to establish ourselves as worthy partners, not just superior technologists. The delegation from Earth consisted of Maya herself, Dr. Reed, Dr. Novak, and Ambassador Julian Okoa, who had been awakened from stasis specifically for this diplomatic encounter. As Earth's most experienced xenodiplomat, having negotiated treaties with the genetically modified human colonies in the outer solar system, Okoa brought valuable perspective despite never having encountered truly alien intelligence. Captain, Okoa said quietly, his Latino features composed in a diplomat's practiced neutral expression. How much technological information have you been authorized to share? Enough to establish genuine exchange without compromising core security, Maya replied. The quantum principles behind our defensive systems can be discussed conceptually, but the specific configurations remain classified. The doors slid open, and Lieutenant Petrov entered. The Telvari delegation has arrived and completed decontamination protocols. They're ready to proceed. Maya straightened, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Bring them in. The 4 Telvari entered with a dignity that transcended their alien appearance. Elder Tavrix led the group, his pale scales bearing complex patterns that Dr. Novak had identified as indicators of academic status in their culture. Behind him came 2 younger Telvari scientists, their movements quick and curious as they observed the human technology around them. The 4th visitor wore elaborate decorative armor that seemed ceremonial rather than functional, marking him as the governmental representative. Elder Tavrix, Maya greeted, performing the head tilt that their cultural research had identified as a respectful gesture in Telvari society. Welcome aboard the Ascendant. I am Captain Maya Chen. The elder Telvari returned the gesture with surprising accuracy. Captain Chen, we appreciate your willingness to host this exchange after our unfortunate initial interactions. Maya introduced her team, noting how the Telvari scientists' attention fixed particularly on Dr. Reed when he was identified as the creator of the quantum displacement technology. This is Counselor Vexlar. Tavrix indicated the armored Telvari. He represents the Dominion Council's diplomatic subdivision. The counselor performed a formal gesture. The Dominion extends cautious greetings to humanity. This represents an unprecedented circumstance in our 12,000 cycles of interstellar governance. We understand this situation is unusual, Ambassador Okoa responded smoothly. Earth appreciates your willingness to engage in direct dialogue. As the formalities concluded, the group seated themselves at the conference table. The atmospheric barrier between them was virtually invisible, detectable only as a slight shimmering when viewed from certain angles. I must acknowledge, Elder Tavrix began, that your demonstration of quantum field manipulation has created significant disruption within the Dominion's scientific community. The principles you appear to have mastered have been theoretical in our models for centuries. Dr. Reed leaned forward, his discomfort with formal settings forgotten in the face of scientific discussion. We discovered the key breakthrough approximately 30 Earth years ago, what we call the unified quantum principle. It allowed us to manipulate quantum fields at macroscopic levels without collapse. Impossible, declared one of the younger Telvari scientists, their translated voice containing unmistakable excitement rather than dismissal. The energy requirements alone would exceed anything conventionally possible. That was indeed the primary obstacle, Reed acknowledged with a small smile. Until we developed controlled micro-singularity containment. The statement hung in the air as the Telvari scientists processed its implications. Even Counselor Vexlar's diplomatic composure faltered momentarily. You've harnessed micro-singularities as power sources, Elder Tavrix asked, his voice hushed with what might have been awe. Our theoretical models suggested such technology would be millennia away, if possible at all. Maya observed the exchange with satisfaction. This was the approach they had hoped for. Establish humans not as aggressors or conquerors, but as innovators who had taken a different path in their technological evolution. Perhaps, Ambassador Oko suggested gently. This illustrates why judging species by conventional metrics of advancement can be misleading. Humanity may be relatively new to interstellar travel, but our scientific development followed unique trajectories. Counselor Vexlar's scales shifted in patterns that the human's cultural database couldn't fully interpret. Your capabilities pose significant questions for the Dominion's traditional approach to emerging species. Typically, new civilizations are evaluated based on their technological development and assigned appropriate status within our governance structure. Earth would not accept a subordinate status. Maya stated simply, without hostility, but with absolute clarity. We come to the galactic community seeking mutual respect and cooperation, not hierarchical integration. Your demonstration has made that position difficult to challenge. Vexlar acknowledged with surprising frankness. High Commander Zarel's fleet represents 20% of the Dominion's military strength. The fact that you neutralized it non-destructively with apparently minimal effort has created a complex political situation. Elder Tavrix made a gesture that seemed to indicate he wished to steer the conversation back to scientific matters. Perhaps we might begin with an exchange of basic astrophysical data. Our star mapping techniques may complement your exploration capabilities. Dr. Novak activated a holographic display showing Earth's stellar cartography. We would welcome such an exchange. Our mapping has focused on these regions, though our quantum sensors allow detection of stellar phenomena at ranges exceeding conventional limitations. As the scientists from both species began comparing notes with increasing enthusiasm, Maya caught Ambassador Oko's subtle nod of approval. The initial tension was dissipating in the face of shared intellectual curiosity. Exactly as they had hoped. Hours passed in productive exchange. The Telvari shared insights about local stellar phenomena and spatial anomalies, while the humans provided carefully selected information about their quantum sensing technology. Both sides were clearly withholding sensitive information, but enough was shared to establish genuine scientific rapport. During a scheduled break, Maya noticed Elder Tavrix approaching her, while the other Telvari conferred among themselves. Captain Chen, the elder scientist, said quietly, "I must confess something to you. The Dominion Council remains divided on how to proceed with Earth. Some factions, led by military interests, view your technology as an existential threat that must be contained or controlled." Maya appreciated the candor. "And your position, Elder?" Tavrix's scales shifted to a pattern Maya was beginning to recognize as indicating personal rather than official communication. "I have served the Dominion for over 200 cycles. In that time, I have observed 17 first contact scenarios. Never have I encountered a species that possessed such advanced technology, yet showed such restraint in its application." "Restraint is central to our philosophy," Maya replied. "Earth's history taught us that technological power without ethical framework leads to destruction. A wisdom many species acquire too late," Tavrix acknowledged. "But there is another matter I must address. Your quantum technology. It represents more than just advanced engineering, doesn't it? The principles you've mastered could theoretically be applied to solving problems that have plagued many worlds in this sector." Maya studied the ancient alien carefully, such as quantum degradation of ecosystem collapse, gravid